Hey super friends, my name is Neil and welcome to this episode 62 of the Get Your Comic Con podcast. We're here fortnightly-ish to bring you a slice of film, TV and pop culture goodness from our studio direct to your speakers. I am of course joined by my very own boy wonder Martin. Say hello Martin.
Hello Martin.
I need to put my teeth in for a second there. I'm losing my voice. I'm stumbling over my words. How are you doing today?
I'm alright.
We've had 3 weeks off. Whoops. Not our fault, though. We realised when we came to record an episode of the podcast just last week that actually we couldn't talk about anything. Because we've seen Venom, which only just lifted the embargo. I'd interviewed Kami Garcia and Gabriel Picolo for Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven, which you will hear shortly. And that was under embargo until the book came out, which was just yesterday. And I feel like everything that we've seen or done, we were literally not legally allowed to talk about, so we had to take an extra week off. But here we are back. We're going to do things a little differently today. We're going to do a quick roundup of some of the biggest news stories from the last couple of weeks, and then we're going to hand it over to Kami and Gabriel to talk about Beast Boy Loves Raven, which is a brand new YA graphic novel from DC Comics, which is available now in digital and in print, where all good books are sold. It is the third in the Teen Titans series, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, let's dive into the headlines. First up is a double whammy of news from the Wizarding world. Warner Brothers confirmed just a couple of weeks ago that the third film in the Fantastic Beasts franchise is going to be subtitled The Secrets of Dumbledore. They have since confirmed that the film will release 1 week earlier in the UK and Ireland. So in the US, it's going to be releasing on April the 15th, 2022. And it's now been revealed it will release here in the UK on April the 8th, 2022. I have a short synopsis before I throw over to the Potter superfan over opposite me to talk about this. But the synopsis that we've got reads: Professor Albus Dumbledore knows the powerful dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald is moving to seize control of the wizarding world. Unable to stop him alone, he entrusts magizoologist, that's not easy to say, Newt Scamander, to lead an intrepid team of wizards, witches and one brave muggle baker on a dangerous mission where they encounter old and new beasts and clash with Grindelwald's growing legion of followers. But with the stakes so high, how long can Dumbledore remain on the sidelines? Boy wonder, huge fan of Harry Potter. What do we think of this news?
I don't know. I wasn't a fan of the second one. What was the second one called? I can't remember what it was called.
Something about Grindelwald? Crimes of Grindelwald?
Crimes of Grindelwald. So I don't know.
Did we see Crimes of Grindelwald at the cinema?
We've seen them both in midnight screenings. We've had this discussion. We'll do it in Edinburgh.
I don't think we saw that. I feel like I didn't see the second one at the cinema somehow.
No, I don't think I did see the cinema.
There it is.
I saw it on the DVDs.
Which says a lot, because you're a huge Harry Potter fan.
I know, it's bizarre.
What is it that you're not so keen on about Fantastic Beasts franchise?
I don't know, I liked the first one. It was alright. But I don't know.
For want of a better phrase, does it not quite have the magic of Harry Potter?
Oh, as you read it there, swooshing your wand about. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It doesn't quite match up with the films when you look at Jude Law as Dumbledore.
Because he's smartly dressed and not in dishevelled robes.
You know, there's not that much of a time jump between the films. To think he goes from Jude Law to very, very, very old man with big long beard and a pointy hat.
Richard Harris.
Yeah. It's quite a leap visually.
So is there really not that long between? How is that the case? Explain to me. I need some timeline explanation.
I think it's like 40 years or something.
A rough 40 years then.
For a wizard, it's not that long.
A wizard?
A wizard.
Okay, so what was it you liked about the first one that didn't like so much about the second one then?
So the first one, it was nice because it was a single standalone story of Newt Scamander and the fantastical beasts, and I liked that. And because I liked the world building. Am
I right in thinking that in the world of Harry Potter, the book Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is written by Newt Scamander?
Yeah, so it's a textbook of
that they study in Hogwarts.
Beasts. Yeah. So I liked that. I liked the world building. I liked seeing the American wizards, and that was good. And then the second film, I can't even remember what happened. I know it went a bit sort of European. There was a Flash. There was a pirate.
Oh, Ezra Miller.
Pirate Johnny Depp, who's now gone.
Yes, so Johnny Depp is replaced in this film as Gellert Grindelwald by and I actually really like this casting. So ignore the circumstances as to why that happened, but I'm very happy with this. But he's been replaced by Mads Mikkelsen.
I mean, he's a good villain. He'd be a good man in the role. It's just a shame that he wasn't in the role to begin with.
So cast list is Eddie Redmayne, Catherine Waterston, Dan Fogler, Jude Law, Ezra Miller, who are all returning. They'll be joined by Jessica Williams, Alison Sudol, and Mads Mikkelsen is the official cast list.
Well, that's good. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this film performs. It's been a roller coaster for it. The second one didn't do very well. Johnny Depp's been bad.
Lots of rumours about this one having problems filming as well, in like last minute script changes, heavy reshoots, but all those things are done to try and correct things that might be wrong. So they're obviously working to try and make it the best film they can.
Yeah. Who was the writer on this film?
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah. But they brought the man in who did the films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're like the Harry Potter films. Because I know they were a good writing duo.
And this is being this is being directed by David Yates as well, who's directed Harry Potter's before.
Okay, so, we'll see what happens. But
I say that confidently. I've not double checked, but I believe he did.
We'll see what happens. I mean, I think it's probably not going to have the same audience pool, I would imagine, because of the names that have been associated with it. But we will have to wait and see.
Just to confirm that David Yates directed Harry Potter. Sorry, he's directed all of the Fantastic Beasts movies. And he also directed Deathly Hallows Part 2, Part 1, Half-Blood Prince, and Order of the Phoenix. Oh, so basically he's done the back half of Harry Potter and all of Fantastic Beasts.
Order of the Phoenix was my favourite.
Keep your eyes peeled. It probably won't be too long until we get a trailer for this one, with it due in UK cinemas on April the 8th, 2022. Next up is a huge story for fans of Doctor Who. The franchise is approaching its 60th anniversary in 2023, and the 60th anniversary will now coincide with the first season, do I want to say? With the show's new showrunner. So, as we've talked about in the past, Jodie Whittaker, star of the current series, and executive producer Chris Chibnall are exiting Doctor Who. And we now know that Russell T Davies will be returning to the franchise from 2023 for the anniversary celebrations and series beyond this. So you will know the name Russell T Davies for plenty, be it Queer as Folk, be it It's a Sin, any of his most recent work. But he also obviously famously brought back Doctor Who when it returned to screens in 2005. He originally left the series in 2009 and was succeeded by Moffat and then by Chibnall, and now we're going full circle and he is returning. He does say, please don't ask me any questions about who will be my Doctor or what I'm planning to do, because you've got a 6-part series and 3 specials before you get to me. So we've got a way to go yet. We've got another year of Doctor Who before we get there. It comes back to screens, I think, around Christmas time for this 6-part series, and then there'll be 3 specials next year, which will be the end of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor. What do we think about this? No one saw this coming whatsoever.
No one. Not even the Doctor.
No, I could never, in my wildest dreams or predictions, have said to you, I think Russell T Davies will come back to Doctor Who. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, it feels like the Who has struggled a bit since he left.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Moffat was good. And then it sort of...
There is definitely a feeling amongst Doctor Who fans that Chris Chibnall hasn't quite understood the writing of it. He's executed what is one of the best looking, or a couple of best looking seasons. It looks brilliant. The cinematography is quite inspired at the moment. The special effects are great, and musically it's great. They've got great score going on. They've had a really good cast, but yeah, there's something about his writing that's not quite clicked with fans.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, we've not even finished the latest series, have we? We've still got the last one to watch.
It's getting a bit stormy outside.
I know. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll I'm so stuck there. I mean,
we interestingly dived on a couple of anti-Doctor Who YouTube channels that, well, I say anti-Doctor Who, anti-woke, anti-women, anti-LGBT YouTube channels that we are aware of, just to see how they were taking this news, because it's always funny to see how that side of the internet reacts when something that they're always banging on about as being doomed does something interesting like this. And the first thing that I discovered was that they all think this is a PR stunt to try and improve the series. I really don't think that Russell T Davies is someone who would do that. When you look at Russell T Davies' career, he doesn't really do things for the sake of doing them.
Did you not say that one of them said, it means an end of woke Doctor Who?
Yes.
You're like, really?
The man that writes It's a Sin and such wonderful inclusive shows like, what was the one on Channel 4 that you watched that I didn't? Was it Banana? Cucumber?
Turnip,
yep.
Something.
I mean, the man is amazing when it comes to his inclusion and his characters. So,
years and years, there was a good program.
Yep, years and years. Also a very inclusive program that was very, very woke in respect of how it looked at society as it is right now across 10 years that was in that series. So yeah, it is quite funny when they're like, yes, it's a return to the cisgender white heterosexual male Doctor. Yeah, but still sensibilities are there.
It's a return to the creator of Torchwood.
It's a return to the creator of Torchwood and the man that introduced John Barrowman's penis to many people's shoulders.
I mean, I think Barrowman probably did that himself. But that's another discussion.
There's not really too much to say about this. The BBC Director of Drama, Piers Wenger, said, as the 13th Doctor prepares to embark on new and extraordinary adventures, the winds of change are blowing, bringing with them the news to delight Doctor Who fans across the globe. We are thrilled that Russell is returning to Doctor Who to build on the huge achievements of Chris and Jodie. Thank you to the two of them and the team back in Cardiff for all they continue to do. And hello, Russell, it's wonderful to have you back.
We're going back to Wales.
Well, that's interesting that he says Cardiff, considering so much of it has been filmed in Sheffield when they do Earthbound bits. So maybe, I don't know, maybe a lot of the studio work has still been done in Cardiff and it's being shared between the two areas. I do not know.
I would like a return to Wales.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. It feels quite comforting. I'm rewatching Torchwood at the minute. I find the Welsh accent quite comforting. I quite like it when Gwen Stacy shouts at people. So.
Gwen Stacy?
Not Gwen Stacy. Gwen Cooper. I went to a
Spider-Man
Spider-Man place there.
Exactly.
Yeah. Different Gwen. She's not Welsh.
No. So, yeah. There's not much more to say about this. We'll have to keep our eyes peeled. The next thing will be casting news for the brand new Doctor, so that will be very interesting. I think Bookie's favourite at the moment is Ollie Alexander from Years and Years, which has probably gone up since the news of Russell T Davies returning. But what do you think of this news? You can find us on social media and let us know. We are on Twitter and Instagram at GetYourComicCon, or you can find me at Neil Vag or Martin at BoyWonder89. No, 1989, sorry. I always forget the 19. That's someone else.
So just give me some Who background music.
Thank you. Last up in the news this week is the announcement of the casting for Illumination's upcoming Super Mario Bros. Animated movie. So this film is currently set for a release in the holiday season in 2022. Universal Pictures will release the film in North America, and international release details are still waiting to be announced. The film is being co-financed by both Universal Pictures and Nintendo. Illumination, obviously famous for creating the little yellow people.
Minions.
Thank you. I was going to call them the Munchkins. The Minions. So, in no particular order, we have in this film...
Let's say who we don't have.
We don't have James Corden.
Thank God.
As it trended on Twitter that he wasn't in this film. So, we have Chris Pratt as Mario, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, Charlie Day as Luigi, Jack Black as Bowser, otherwise King Koopa, Keegan-Michael Key as Toad, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, and Sebastian Maniscalco as Spike. Now, I'm just doing a quick bit of Googling here, because I'm not sure who Kamek is. Let's do Kamek Nintendo. Oh, is that his name? Do you know who Kamek is? Kamek is the wizard.
Oh.
I've always just thought of him as the wizard Cooper.
I thought you were talking about an actual actor's name. I thought, I don't know. People
No. So Kevin Michael Richardson is playing Kamek. I just didn't know who Kamek was. Okay, where do you want to start unpacking this? What do you think of Chris Pratt, Star-Lord, as Mario?
Is this a real life Mario or a CGI Mario?
No, it's fully animated Mario.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
He's not breaking out a red boiler suit anytime soon.
I was going to say, like, oh god, that's a bit weird. But I mean, I don't know. He's all right. He's funny, I suppose. He's not Italian.
John Leguizamo, who played Luigi in the 90s Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins, has said he feels like this film is very very white casting for a pair of Italian plumbers. He said he feels like his film didn't care about casting. You had a British guy and a Latinx guy as Luigi. And he feels like, oh, you've kind of got two white guys here with Charlie Day and Chris Pratt, although both are very funny. Let's just put race aside for a second. But yeah, I struggle to hear Chris Pratt saying, "It's a me, Mario!" But then he then went on Twitter and recorded himself saying, "It's a me, Mario," and said, obviously that's not the voice, you'll have to wait and hear it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. I could have a go. It's a me, a Mario.
Also highly racist, because
Is
you're
it?
not
Oh,
Italian.
God. No, I'm not. I didn't mean to be that. We'll have to cut that.
No, I'll leave it in, it's fine. I mean, it is, you know... For years he was voiced by a tiny Japanese man.
Was he?
Yes.
Oh.
Princess Peach, Anya Taylor-Joy. I quite like that casting. I was about to tell you that she's from X-Men's New Mutants, but you've not seen that film. She's also... You've seen
that scary one. The New Mutants.
Yes.
That
And
took
you've seen
about
the
5 years for it to come out.
Yes. You've seen the trailer for Last Night in Soho. She's the one that's in The Reflection. Long blonde hair.
Oh, that looks scary as well.
She's a brilliant actress. Brilliant actress. So I'm interested to see what she does as Princess Peach. Jack Black as Bowser?
You don't see much of him these days.
No, you don't see much of him these days, so that's interesting. Keegan-Michael Key, the guy from Schmigadoon.
He's everywhere at the minute, isn't he?
Yeah. Also one of the hyenas in the live action, I say in air quotes, Lion King, as Toad.
Oh, sorry, I thought he's a live-action hyena playing a toad.
No.
But I caught there.
Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. So we're going slightly cross-brand Nintendo, but then Mario was invented in Donkey Kong, so that makes sense.
I'm not a fan of Seth Rogen.
No?
I don't mind him. Is he the man that's always in those films?
He's quite often in films, yeah.
Yeah. Like those, films.
Superbad.
That's the one, yeah. Yeah, I'm not mad.
Moved away from it a lot now. Does more serious stuff. And is also producing the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Animated movie, I might add. I'm interested to see. It's a very interesting cast. They're all very accomplished and they've all got very distinct voices. It's just whether those voices match to the characters they're playing that a lot of people seem to be a little bit concerned about at the moment.
Well, have to wait and see.
That was some interesting dynamics there. I said a lot of people are a little bit concerned.
Well, that's a medium concern then.
Yeah, there you go.
A lot and a little.
They actually announced this film quite some time ago, and I've been waiting for news on it for a long time. It's taken them a long, long time to get to a point where they've announced a cast, but we do know that it's going to be with us in cinemas next Christmas, which is quite exciting. It's just, one thing that surprises me is how little you've seen Mario go outside games, really. When you think back to when we were younger, so you had the film in the 90s.
Ah, those were the days.
And there were cartoon series that went with Mario, well, I think pre-Mario 3, and then there was a Mario 3 themed cartoon, and then there was obviously Super Mario World.
Super Mario World.
It's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
Anyway, which went along with Super Mario when the SNES came out. So there was a lot when we were younger, and there were comic books as well. I had quite a lot of Mario comics, which I think I still have one or two of. But really, he's kind of disappeared from mixed media since then and stuck to his computer games. So I'm surprised it's taken so long to get to a point where they're like, okay, let's put him back on the big screen.
Well, you don't oversaturate the market, do you?
No, but when you think think of how many Batman films or Spider-Man films or, okay, we've had Sonic as well, who's been out, but think about how, to Wreck-It Ralph's, we've had plenty of computer game style movies and things in the meantime. It's just, it seems like Mario's been left very, very well alone, which is, I find interesting. When you think how everything's like a remake or a sequel, Mario hasn't really had anything in that period of time. So I don't know. I'd like to know why it's something that hasn't been as widely mined as other properties have been. But anyway, I digress. Super Mario Brothers will be in cinemas in North America from December the 21st, 2022, and we will have a UK release date as soon as it is announced by the studio. That's it for the news this week. On to a discussion with the wonderful author Kami Garcia and the brilliant, brilliant artist Gabriel Picolo about their brand new release from DC Comics, Teen Titans Beast Boy Loves Raven. So this book is available now in print and in digital where all good books are sold. As I said at the beginning of the podcast, this is the third in the Teen Titans series. So it started with Teen Titans Raven, which came out in, I think, late 2019, and that was followed last year by Teen Titans Beast Boy. So now the two characters are crossing over in Beast Boy Loves Raven, and then it will be followed next year excitingly, by Teen Titans Robin. So they introduced Damian's Robin in Beast Boy Loves Raven. That is a bit of a spoiler, but they also, as you'll hear in this interview, are including Dick Grayson in this brand new book. Ooh. The synopsis for Beast Boy Loves Raven reads, "It seems like years, but it's only been a few days since Raven Roth recovered her memories, trapped her demon father Trigon in her amulet, and had her heart broken for the first time. But she doesn't have time to think about the past. She has to focus on finding a way to get rid of Trigon for good. Garfield Logan still can't believe he has powers that allow him to change into different animals, but the price of knowing that his parents kept his secret hidden from him just feels too high. And what's more, his difficulty controlling these abilities could have unexpected consequences. Both are seeking answers from the one person who seems to have them all figured out, Slade Wilson. Oh, no. When their paths converge in Nashville, Raven and Gar can't help but feel a connection, despite the secrets they both try to hide. It will take a great amount of trust and courage to overcome the wounds of their pasts, but can they find acceptance from the darkest part of themselves, or maybe even love?" So it's over to Kami, Gabriel and myself to talk about this book. Hi Kami, hi Gabriel. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. I am really excited to talk about this book. I'm sitting here with my Raven and Beast Boy in front of me, and the new one is on my other screen, so I'm so ready to talk about this. How are you both doing today? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. If you can tell, I'm quite excited.
I'm glad. We want everyone to be excited.
How could anybody not be excited? I'm so ready to see these two come together. I'm going to come over to you first.
I'm counting the days, really.
Yeah, I know. Oh, it's to see people's reactions to it. It's just going to be amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I can't wait. It's also hard to keep all these secrets about everything in the book for so long.
Yeah,
right.
Well, I know. It's amazing. I had forgotten, of course, that there were preview pages for this in Beast Boy. So it was only when I was rereading Beast Boy a few days ago that I suddenly thought, actually, we've been teasing this for so long, and finally it's here. And I can't believe how long it. Well, I mean, given everything that's been going on for the last kind of 18 months, no wonder it feels like such a long time. But how does it feel for you guys for this book to finally be on its way to being out there in the world?
It's really exciting because this was kind of the fun idea of maybe this would happen. When I pitched the series, I pitched origin stories and group books, and then this kind of Beast Boy Loves Raven, which was the least fleshed out of all of the pitches. And so then when Gabriel and I did Raven and then Beast Boy, it was I knew I loved the way those characters turned out so much. So I was I hope we get to do it. So it was exciting because we were excited to do it, and now I just can't wait for people to see what we did and see if they like it.
I was going to say to you, was this kind of an idea that you had back when you were right at the beginnings of this with Raven? Obviously, the groundwork was kind of laid there with Slade, and I can't help it. Just because I'm a Teen Titans Go fan, I feel like I always want to say Slade, like the cartoon.
Yeah. I pitched it from the beginning, but like I said, this one had the least amount. It was kind of like they get together, but it had the least actual story development included in the pitch because it was kind of like maybe we could do this if somebody wants us to. So that was also fun because once we knew we were going to do it, I called Gabriel and there was lots of talks about what do we want to do? What do we want to show? What animals is he going to turn into? How are they going to meet?
What seed is going to be located?
Yep. So that was really fun because we really got to brainstorm it from, a really organic place. And that was fun.
Something which I think it kind of going back to your original sort of pitch, the idea of looking at these characters as teenagers and sort of focusing on some of their emotional journey and that kind of growing up aspect of it. With them now coming together, and you've kind of got the Slade storyline coming a bit more to the fore. Does it feel a little bit more difficult at this point to focus on the more emotional, kind of grounded aspect because it's heading towards more of a sort of superhero direction, or how is that now that things are kind of starting to intersect?
I mean, not really, because I know that's what the readers love.
Yeah.
I know that's what they're relating to in the series. I know that that's what I wanted to see when I wrote the pitch. And when I was looking for an artist, and I saw happened against the note see Gabriel's work, that was the first thing I responded to. So I was like, I know if I get this artist and he does his thing and I, brings this kind of thing to life that I'm imagining, that it will be special. So my whole thing is staying true to that, making opportunities for Gabriel to do what he does best. What do you think, Gabriel? Do you think it's harder as we're going on to not get too superhero?
I remember when I was first reading the script, I remember that both Raven and Beast Boy books, they had one thing in common, which was the high school element. There's a lot of scenes when they are cool, and that's a very it helps to make the story more grounded, more down to earth. And we didn't have that on Beast Boy Raven, and I was curious to read how was the scenes the slice of life kind of scenes were going to work if we don't have the high school element. But it worked out very well because there was the sightseeing in Nashville, there was the hotel scenes that I found very, very fun to work on, and there was the cafe scenes, the one of my favorites too. And I think it's very balanced because we have the slice of life moments at the top of the book, and then on the second half things start to go crazy, and we have the more superhero-y kind of elements.
It feels like a really nice natural progression as well. Right. you can really, from my perspective, you can really feel the elements that start back in Raven and then that start kind of from their own perspective in Beast Boy and pull through into this book. So obviously there are some ideas about where this could go next from here, and there are we'll get into a bit of spoiler territory in a minute. Right. But Gabriel, I wanted to just ask you about you've got a really unique visual style with the Raven book. It was very much you focused on the purple, and there wasn't a huge amount of color in there. And then with Gar, you've obviously got the green side of things. How was it bringing those kind of two unique styles together and making a world that still reflects both of them, but is also this kind of step forwards?
I remember we discussed a lot about the color palette on this book because we wanted to make something really, really cool when these two characters finally meet. I think the most difficult part was actually getting the palette right on Beast Boy, because it was a huge step from grayish tones on Raven to the almost full color on Beast Boy. We were still following a color palette with greens, with teals, but it was a difficult jump to make. And then on this book, it was easier because we just picked the color palette on Beast Boy and added some purple, some lilac, some colors that would reflect Raven. And then we just combined it, and I think it was very easier to work on.
It looks beautiful in this book. I really feel like you can see progression in the artwork. Do you feel like you've kind of moved on as an artist across these books as you've been working on them?
Definitely, 100%. There's this one thing with books. You as an artist, you just level up so quickly because you just need to. There's just a ton of drawings on a book, and I feel like Teen Titans Beast Boy was better drawing-wise. Teen Titans Beast Boy was better than Teen Titans Raven, and Beast Boy Loves Raven is better than the other two. Definitely.
I'm looking at...
I feel the same way about my writing. I feel like my writing gets better because I also feel like the longer we know the characters and the longer Gabriel and I work together, it levels you up.
That's a really good point. Yeah. I was going to say, obviously, this is the third time you've collaborated on a Teen Titans book now. How has your process of working together evolved?
I think there's just more collaboration. Like, we collaborated a lot in the beginning, but I think, I started as a prose novelist with a writing partner, so I'm very used to collaborating. But, it was like Gabriel's first comic book gig, and he didn't know me personally. So I feel like he was, more careful, almost, about making suggestions and stuff. And then, after we went on tour together and we knew each other better, and he, stayed with my family and stuff, for Raven, then I could get him to just tell me everything because I was like, make suggestions, tell me anything you want. So I feel like part of the evolution.
I just call her, on WhatsApp.
He's just like, I have this great idea, and I'm like, do it. So I think part of it is just the trust that you build with someone, and just knowing that he's gonna be able to do what or sometimes I just put stuff in that's a little bit hard, and I'm like, but I don't worry because I know he'll pull it off. Or he'll call me and be like, this is going to look terrible.
Right. And one thing that is very cool is I work with layout artist Rob. He's incredible. But sometimes I do have one different idea, and then I want to change the page. Sometimes it's a big change. It's gonna take some time, and I always like to check with Kami if the idea is good, if the idea is gonna work, because usually she's okay with it. She's just worried that the dialogue's gonna fit into the panels.
Right.
That's the big concern. But
Yeah.
if it's gonna fit, I'm good to go. So
Yeah, because
it's
I
nice to have this artistic freedom,
try to keep the dialogue at a minimum, and I do not like covering his art. Like, I know some people are like, oh, well, it's fine, you'll just cover part of the person or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't want to cover the people. So, like, I'm always like, will it fit? Because, like, the last thing I want to do is, like, he gives me some great page and then I have to, like, cover up part of the animal or something.
That must be a really interesting...
I try to avoid that.
Yeah. That must be quite interesting coming from the prose world to the comic book world when it comes to dialogue and trying to fit that in.
I like it because I hate drafting. I much prefer writing scripts. I like writing emotional beats, action, and dialogue. And I just think with comics, the trick is, it is it's the purest of the form. It's like, you don't get unlimited dialogue. You have to pick and choose, and you have to pick the absolute strongest or most powerful way to say something and get the point across without writing, 2 paragraphs.
Right.
Yeah, and I think you can see the development of that again across these 3 books and the development of your partnership together, and I think that works really well. And then Gabriel, with your artwork, the facial expressions are so it communicates everything to you so well, and I think that's what is so great about these books. And I mean clearly I'm not YA, but I can't help it.
Yeah.
I just love these books.
So that's the thing is, I think it's interesting because, like, whenever we have events, we get just as many adults.
Yeah.
So right. I think the key is, like, a good story is a good story. Like, there's
Absolutely.
Picture books I like. There's middle grade books I like. There's adult books I like. So I think that at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is just tell a really, good, relatable story about compelling characters, so that whether you're reading it to your kid, whether you're an adult fan or you're a teenager, like, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah. Right. I remember I picked up my copy of Raven at New York Comic Con in 2019, and it was going to be my kind of, this is what I'm going to read on the flight back to London, and it didn't make it out of the departure lounge. I'd already finished it by that point, so I was so ready for Beast Boy. So I want to dip into...
it's hard because, like I said, I really do work hard to keep the dialogue at a minimum, because I know there are a lot of even YA graphic novels with a lot more dialogue, but my approach with all the novels and comics I work on, the graphic novels, is that the art is really my narrative voice. So, like, the art needs to do the work, and I have to give the art the space to do the work. So a lot of my writing process is, like, rewriting themes to cut down the panels. Like, I also know Gabriel does really interesting things with the bodies and the shapes and unconstrained figures and stuff when he doesn't have 5 and 6 panel pages. So the other thing is, like, how do I keep panels to a minimum and show, like, give him the most active emotional part of the scene to draw. So I feel like that architectural work is the stuff that I have to do, like, it's the most challenging. So writing the dialogue is, like, the fun part.
Yeah, my background as an artist is illustration.
Yeah.
So going to comics, it was very much managing my time, how much time I could spend on each panel and each drawing, because on a panel, I have to move on because the story is not going to be told by just that one panel. I have to draw an entire page to make sense. So that was very hard, and whenever suggesting any layouts ideas to Kami, I'm always trying to make bigger panels. I love bigger panels. I really dislike, like, those tiny small panels that we can't see much. So I'm always trying to make the page, like, with 4 or 3 big panels.
I'm just flipping through the book now, and I'm suddenly realizing that.
Yeah, but that's the challenge, though, because he'll say, is there any way, now I just do it to myself because I know I can like hear it in my head. But it's like, I've got 6 panels. How do I get 5? If I have 5, how do I get 4? If I have 3 is the ideal, 3 or less. So it's like whatever I have, it's making sure that those panels are absolutely necessary. And they can't be combined in any way. And then if they can, it's like, well, I have to rewrite my dialogue or I have to tighten it up because I've got to fit it in my panel.
Right.
I want to dip into spoiler territory for a moment. I was very excited when I was reading this because Robin is one of my favourite characters in the DC universe, and so obviously there is a character who is introduced in Beast Boy Loves Raven, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God, it's a Robin! We've got a Robin. Which one is it?" And then I realised it was Damian. So can you talk a bit about deciding? I mean, because there are so many Robins, deciding why Damian was the right one for this universe.
Well, obviously, spoiler territory. Once people see this book in the end and see the cover, they'll realize they're actually going to get 2 Robins in a way, because Dick is also going to be in the next one. But Damian was the natural first person for me because number one, he's younger and he like has a lot to learn. Like he has bad temper. He has like more issues. And one of the things I wanted was for all of them, and you'll see Dick has kind of a different feel when he's on the page because he is a little older than them. Like I really wanted all of them to be kind of on a level playing ground where like even Max, like everybody has something to work on. Nobody has it all together. And then also because there's some kind of heavy stuff, I wanted to make sure that the pieces of the book that were Max and whoever was going to be with her would have lighter moments. And Damian's like a little tantrumy, like he's funny.
Yeah. And
Gabriel made him even funnier. Like his expressions are hilarious.
Yeah, he's a feisty kid, but he has a good heart.
He does, yeah. I was just going to ask you, can you talk a little bit about designing him? He looks so cool. He looks amazing.
Nice. I think the biggest inspiration for that was Roger Jimenez, the end from Super Sons, which was my first contact with this character. And I love that portrayal of him, and I love his dynamic with John, and then I picked up a lot of that specific layout. And then my work was getting him to wear something that was not a superhero costume yet, like not something campy. Like he had to. Okay, he has a utility belt, he has a grappling gun, all that kind of stuff, but he had to look real enough. He had to be something. He had to look like something that you could see a character that you would see walking on the street.
Yeah.
And then obviously there is, towards the end of this book, there is a little hint of another core member of the Teen Titans who we don't see fully, but we do get a little visual nod, which again, you can see me smiling because I'm excited about where this could go. Is this someone we could see in the near future?
We can't confirm it, but it's definitely a possibility.
Definitely a possibility.
I always feel terrible when I do interviews because I always like to ask what you guys are working on next, and it's always like I want to know just because I want to know what you guys are doing because I love what you do. But so often when I ask people, you can't actually tell me, and I just feel terrible asking the question. But I have to do it regardless.
Well, that was why I was excited that they're going to be also announcing Constantine. So I'm like, for the last 3 years. Between my Audible stuff, my stuff for DC, I'm it basically looks like I'm not doing anything because I have all this stuff I'm doing, but I can't talk about any of it. So I was people probably just think I'm loafing around my house.
And the thing
I was but I am working.
I promise you, I'm working. I promise. And that's the thing with my my review copy because I don't have any preview pages for what might come next. I don't have any hint as to what is next on my screen.
Oh,
so the fact that
was I not supposed to say that right? I thought I could tell everyone. Sorry.
Well, if you noticed if you noticed I almost fell off my chair, that was because you said Dick Grayson, who is my favourite of pretty much all of DC. So the fact that you mentioned that, I'm so ready for it.
Don't tell
Which
us
one's
the
your favorite? Sorry.
Dick.
Which one's your favorite?
I love Dick Grayson. You can't quite see it, but I've got a trio of Robins on my wall behind me. I've got a Tim, a Dick, and a Jason on the wall behind me.
Oh, wow.
are Chris Anka's, right?
Yeah.
I love him. I love him so much as a person and as an artist. I love his work.
So cool. I met him at New York Comic Con 2019 and picked those up at the same time I picked up this wonderful book.
I picked those up too. I picked those posters up too.
That's amazing. So I wanted to talk a bit about Titans sort of a little bit more in general, because I feel like you two kind of came into this world of Teen Titans and these characters when their popularity was really like just exploding, because we'd obviously had the Titans TV cartoon series back when I was a little bit younger. You had Teen Titans Go, which just a few months before Raven had been out on the big screen. You've got the Titans TV series that's in season 3. And I think arguably you two have both been part of what's made these characters just explode in popular culture. What do you think makes them so enduring? Because they're almost at a point now where they're like beyond the Justice League. It's like people talk about Nightwing and Robin and Starfire more than they talk about almost Batman and Wonder Woman at this point. What do you think it is?
They're more human. They're like more relatable. They're more human. You know, they're not perfect. I feel like I love Wonder Woman like as much as I love Wonder Woman. But Wonder Woman is like a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
I feel like the Titans are more like any of us could be them. More so than obviously someone like Wonder Woman. At least that's what to me makes them kind of like stand the test of time.
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. Like they're figuring out stuff, so they're not perfect. They're not battling those intergalactic threats.
Yeah,
they still have to like take care of what's happening in their neighborhood. I think that's what makes them more special. Like I can see Beast Boy checking a TikTok video. I can't imagine Wonder Woman or Batman checking a TikTok video. So that instantly makes them closer to me.
That makes perfect sense. That makes absolutely perfect sense. Well, so last question from me. What's next for the both of you? What are you working on at the moment?
We can't tell. I mean, you can tell once the 28th hits because it'll be in the back of the book. But other than that,
something's coming
everything
up.
else.
Definitely something's coming up, but we can't tell.
Yeah. But definitely, and then, you know, like everything else I have that's not in the back of the book, I can't talk about.
I'm going to have to run to a bookstore now so that I can pick up a proper copy and read what's at the back of it. Guys, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Honestly, I've been a huge fan of both of these books, and I have really enjoyed getting to read Beast Boy Loves Raven and chatting to both of you. It's amazing, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much for reading them. Thank you for reading them.
I look forward to hopefully many, many more in the future.
I'm very excited to know what you think of our Dick Grayson, because it's be really good.
Honestly, no, I can't wait. Thanks to DC Comics for arranging that interview for us. I even think I ended up saying it not in what you will have heard, because I will have taken it out, but I'm sure at some point I said I was actually quite nervous because I've loved both of their books so far and I really enjoyed this one, and it was quite nerve-wracking talking to them because they're both very cool. Gabriel's artwork is amazing. We should have some of his work up because his Teen Titans stuff is amazing. I know we have our Robin trio from Chris Anka, but some Gabriel Picolo would be pretty cool on the wall as well.
Well, you have to ask him for some.
Mm-hmm. And Kami's also got a Constantine book that's just been announced that's going to be coming out, I think, next year as well. You've not had a chance to read this yet?
No.
We've talked in the past about Raven and also Beast Boy on this podcast, though. But you just don't rush to read them like I do.
I mean, I've read Raven.
Have you not read Beast Boy yet?
No, I've not read Beast Boy.
Oh, I'm ashamed. We're going to have to sit you down and really make you read these.
I just don't have the time to sit down and read these things.
They're brilliant.
I normally read them digitally on the way into work.
Well, I'm going to have to buy them digitally then. That's an excuse, if ever I needed one.
Yeah, well, don't rush, because I've got a whole stack of things I need to read that we've bought digitally.
Yeah, well, you really should read them, because they are excellent.
Well, we'll add it to the very long list.
And I now count both of these people as friends of the podcast. Friends of the family.
Friends of the fam.
I think this book is absolutely brilliant. You'll be able to go to our website, which is www.getyourcomiccon.co.uk, to read my full thoughts on Beast Boy Loves Raven, and also Raven, because I'm sure I reviewed it, and Beast Boy book as well. I am very, very excited for what they do with Robin, especially if you've seen the cover art with both Damien and Dick on there. It looks like it's going to be a really... Don't laugh at the word Dick. It's going to be a really good book. All right? You realise we're going to have to start talking about Titans soon because we've only got a couple of episodes left till the end of the season.
Oh, I do.
And that means there's going to be a lot of dick.
Oh, well, I mean, you can't complain at that, really, can you? What? You like a lot of Titans. Don't make it rude.
You made it rude.
I didn't say anything.
Anyway, thank you for tuning into this short, sharp podcast. I really hope you enjoyed that interview because it was really, really fun. And this is a great book. I realise it is YA, but honestly, like we said in the interview, it appeals to audiences of all ages because it's just such a cool, honest telling of these characters, and I think people will really enjoy it. So run out and pick it up, read it, and let me know what you think. Come and find me on social media at NeilVag and let me know your thoughts on this series. And also Gabriel's amazing artwork because it's just so cool. I'm pretty sure Kami asked for him once she'd seen his artwork because she just thought it fit perfectly with what she wanted to do with the books. So it's just, they are a perfect match, and they clearly get on very, very well as well.
Very good.
That is it for this podcast. We will be back in a couple of weeks when we'll actually be able to talk about the stuff we've been doing. So expect some Venom, expect some Why the Last Man. You can check out what happened when we went to the Why the Last Man premiere over on our YouTube channel because we had a really awesome night there. But we've been waiting till we've seen a few episodes before we talk about it. Plenty more going on as well. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to see Dune. I'm going to see Halloween Kills. So there's a lot going on. And finally, we are out of embargo time and able to talk.
Is it Dune or is it June?
I think it's June, really, but I quite like saying Dune because it's like sand dunes.
Hopefully somebody says it in the film.
Maybe. Until next time. Bye!